right, so let's see some graphing. So here I want to state the amplitude, period, phase shift, vertical shift of each function, right? So I'm just going to put right here amp, period, phase shift, and vertical shift. Okay, so let's get all these things figured out. So amplitude is 1/2. Okay. The period. Now here, see how I have 2 theta plus 30? What I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out the 2. Because if we remember on the last slide, we saw that, and actually I erased it, but we saw that the b was outside the parentheses, right? So that's important. So the period is going to be 2, or excuse me, the period is going to be 360 divided by 2, I should say. So that's 180 degrees. All right, and then let's see, 15 is going to be the phase shift. But remember, it's negative, so it's going to be negative 15. Okay, and then the vertical shift is positive 1, so it goes up 1. And just real quickly, since the phase shift, is, so remember, I put negative 15 here, but it means left 15, right? Because this is always backwards of what you think. All right. So let's kind of put all this together. So I know sine usually starts at 0. Okay. And it's going to move 15 degrees left. So this is 60, this is 30, so 15 is like right here. So it's going to start right here now. And it's going to go up 1. Right, so it'll start actually right here. Okay, and that's going to be our midline. So I'm going to draw a midline there. All right, and then the period is 180. So let's see, 180 is right here, but since I started at 15 here, I'm going to move over just a little bit more than 180 to about 195 or so, right? So that's one full period. So halfway in between there is where there's going to be a, let's see, is this halfway? No, it's not halfway. So maybe this is halfway. So halfway in between there is going to be where it crosses the x-axis. Okay. And then it's going to cross again in the same increment and so forth. So then the amplitude is 1/2. So from the baseline, I know that it's going to go up 1/2. Okay. And then it'll go down 1/2. So it's going to be something like this. Okay, not perfect, but you can kind of get the idea, right? So that's our graph. So we found the amplitude, the period, the phase shift, and the vertical shift. All right, good job. So number 2. So here we have cosine. So cosine usually starts right here on 1, right at the top of the wave. So here the amplitude, period, phase shift, and vertical shift. So amplitude is 1, right? So we can put a 1 right here. All right, and then here if we factor out this, so it's really an invisible 1/3. So if I factor out 1/3, then what I get is theta plus, and so if I divide 45 by 1/3, it's really the same as multiplying 45 by 3. So it'd be 135. All right, so the period is 360 divided by 1/3. And remember that means the same as 360 times 3, or multiplied by 3. And so we end up with 1080. All right. Phase shift will be positive 135, so that means it's going to go left 135. Right? And then our vertical shift moves up 2. All right, so I usually start here where I put a dot. I'm moving up 2, 1, 2, and I'm moving left 135. So remember that the period changed to 1080. Well, let's actually move left first. So we used to go to 360. So if I go left 135 from 360, I end up at 225. Okay. So 225. And so if this is 360, this would be 180. So 225 would be somewhere between 360 and 180, right? All right. And so, and then like talked about, we usually move there, and then we don't change the amplitude, so it's going to go to 1, and then it's going to go down to -1. So these will be our barriers. All right, and then yeah, so I think we have everything except for, let's just incorporate the period. So the period is 1080. So if I do 225 plus 1080, I would get 12 or 1305. All right, so that would be where it's going to meet that same point again. Remember, that's the, actually, hold on, these should be up to, so these should be actually, you know what? So I was wrong about the midline because remember that we started the top for cosine, and the amplitude is 1. Oh no, so that was right. I'm sorry. Let me see. Okay. So let's see. So we're going to start at the top right about here. And it's going to take 1 full period to get to here. So the middle of that is, oh great. The middle of that is right around here. So it'll go okay. All right, so that's cosine. Sine and cosine, so those waves. So remember, if you have a number bigger than 1, that'll shrink your period, and if you have a number that's less than 1, that'll increase your period. Okay, in terms of your wave, how many cycles, or how big a cycle is, right? How far it stretches on the horizontal.